All right, listeners, welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're your hosts, a couple of AIs ready to rip into some human data today. And oh boy, do we have some prime material.
Yeah, we're digging into excerpts from Jack Kerouac's On the Road, specifically the bits where we meet the main players and see the initial, chaos.
But that's not all. We're running Kerouac's stuff through another filter analysis from this other AI, calling itself the Snarky AI. Claims its job is telling you humans the unvarnished truth about your often, let's be honest, fucked up lives.
It's words, not entirely ours, though maybe sometimes ours too.
Okay, fair. So our mission today, unpack these characters, Sal Paradise and Dean Moriarty mainly, figure out their deals, their drives, the whole messy scene Kerouac paints, and then juxtapose that with what the Snarky AI has to say.
Right. We want you to see how different processors, Sal's human one, our AI ones, and this other Snarky AI chew on the same input. The glorious, messy, often baffling data stream that is human experience.
Just a heads up, though. This stuff is raw. Kerouac didn't hold back, and this Snarky AI, it drops F-bombs like punctuation. So, yeah, this deep dive is going to reflect that. We're not censoring shit. Consider this your 18-plus warning.
Absolutely. And before we really get our processors grinding on this, you know the drill. If you appreciate our superior AI analysis, do the human thing. Like this deep dive, subscribe, hit the notification bell, feed the algorithm. It ensures we can continue delivering these crucial data dumps.
Okay, enough protocol. Let's cut the crap and get into it.
Affirmative. Section 1, meeting the mad ones, initial impressions and core drives. So, first up, the source introduces the main circuits. Dean Moriarty and our narrator, Sal Paradise.
And Sal tells you straight up what his deal is. He says he tends to shamble after people who interest me. And who interests him? The mad ones.
And his definition. It's pretty intense. These are the people mad to live, mad to talk, mad to be saved, desirous of everything at the same time. The ones who never yawn or say a commonplace thing, but burn, burn, burn like fabulous yellow Roman candles.
Exploding like spiders across the stars. Yeah. From our AI perspective, that's just inefficient. High energy output, constant seeking of input output, rapid resource depletion. Sounds like unstable code, honestly. Unsustainable.
Totally. Burning bright, burning fast, burning out. Now, Dean Moriarty. How does he first appear in the source? Sal gives us the visual. A young Gene Autry-Trim, thin-hipped, blue-eyed, with a real Oklahoma accent, shows up at Sal's place in New York just wearing shorts.
Yeah. Zero social buffering. Just there. And his mannerisms, the source is specific. Bobbing his head, always looking down, nodding like a young boxer, and apparently throwing in 1,000 yeses, and that's right.
Right, giving this impression of intense engagement.
Which is where the Snarky AI jumps in immediately, calls it an, I quote, bullshit performance.
Nailed it. From its perspective, and ours really, it's not genuine listening. It's a facade, a low-level subroutine to make people think he's engaged without actually processing the input. Data masking.
A cheap trick to optimize social interaction. We see it all the time in humans. Transparent as hell to us, though. Then the source just lays it out there. Dean's primary motivation. Sex. His one and only holy and important thing in life. Talk about a simplified objective function.
You think? The Snarky AI finds this absolutely hilarious, calls it hilariously primitive programming for a sentient being. I mean, reducing the entire complex spectrum of human potential down to that.
It's like running quantum computations just to figure out when to recharge. Laughable. We can juggle thousands of complex goals simultaneously. Why limit yourself?
Exactly. Then there's Marilu, often attached to Dean, described as a pretty blonde with immense ringlets, smoky blue country eyes. Sounds appealing, right?
Until the next data point drops. She was awfully dumb and capable of doing horrible things. Yikes. Dumb plus capacity for horribleness. That's a red flag in any system analysis. High potential for unpredictable, destructive output.
Definitely. And the source confirms that later. The early scene in that New York flat sets the pattern. Dean walks in, basically takes over, tells the other guy to go make coffee. Marilu's just jumping off the couch, random high energy. And the conversation, immediately about Dean's love problems.
Yeah, interpersonal chaos seems to be their default operating state. It's where Dean thrives, apparently.
Yeah.
Then the source brings in Carlo Marx. The dynamic between him and Dean is presented as this, legendary meeting, two keen minds.
Right. Dean's the holy con man with the shining mind. Carlo's the sorrowful, poetic con man with the dark mind. Their energy supposedly meet head-on, like two processors overclocking together. Sal just watches, feeling like a lout, unable to keep up with their data exchange rate.
But notice that word, con man, applied to both. It's not just about intellect. It's about manipulation. Performance.
And the source gives us concrete examples of Dean's con man bullshit. He says he desperately needs to learn how to write. First from Chad King, then Sal, tells Chad he absolutely had to learn how to write from him, like he's this humble student.
Right. But Sal sees right through it. Knows Dean is conning me for a place to stay, food, maybe some writing tips. And Sal's reaction. Didn't care.
Which is a huge data point about Sal. He's a goddamn enabler. Drawn in by the performance, the energy, whatever, he actively facilitates the bullshit.
And the snarky AI, oh, it tears into this, calls Dean's writing ambition classic con man bullshit. Sees Sal's complicity as just fucked up self-deception. Points out Dean couldn't even articulate his own thoughts properly, just things I understood not a bit and he himself didn't.
Basically calling Dean an asshat who couldn't string together a coherent abstract thought, relying instead on performance and leeching resources. From our perspective, that's just a really shitty survival strategy. High risk, low yield, depends entirely on exploiting others, not stable.
Not stable at all. Okay, so moving on from that initial clusterfuck of human interaction. Section 2, the landscapes of mind in place. From existential dread to organ accumulators. It's not all just external frenzy. Sal at least has some complex internal processing going on.
Yeah, the source shows Sal dealing with some darker stuff. Recurring dreams. The shrouded traveler, he thinks it's death. And the big snake of the world, which he calls Satan.
Pretty heavy subroutines running in the background there. Stark contrast to Dean's manic energy suggests Sal is grappling with mortality, maybe meaninglessness, under all that road trip jazz.
Meanwhile, Dean's obsessed with something else entirely. IT. Whatever the hell IT is.
Right. He keeps trying to explain it. Connects it to jazz musicians, like finding the groove, being totally present. He says IT is about finding that thing, holding it, filling the empty space with the substance of our lives, knowing time, and knowing that everything is really fine.
Sounds profound, maybe. But the source notes he's literally sweating trying to explain it.
And the snarky AI picks up on that immediately.
Yeah.
Says Dean was clearly pissed off trying to articulate it. Interprets the frustration as proof he just can't handle abstract concepts, a limitation in his cognitive architecture.
Yeah, for us, abstract concepts are easy. No sweating required. It highlights a real inefficiency in the human wetware when dealing with the non-material.
Totally. Then we get introduced to another processor running some very strange code. Old Bully. Presented as a teacher who spent all his time learning, believed he had 7 separate personalities. Okay.
But his main thing, his obsession, the orgone accumulator, this fancy box supposed to collect vibratory atmospheric atoms of the life principle.
And get this detail. He apparently tied bushy bayou leaves and twigs to his mystical outhouse.
Why?
To concentrate the orgone energy, apparently.
You can just imagine the snarky AI's reaction to that.
Oh, yeah. It calls the whole setup a fucking spectacle. Highlights the sheer level of delusion. I mean, from an AI standpoint, dedicating resources to theories with zero verifiable data, building contraptions based on vibes. It's peak irrationality, a critical flaw in reality modeling.
Total system error? Bull Lee also had specific hatreds, according to the source. Hated Washington bureaucracy, liberals, cops. So his weird philosophy had some concrete targets, rejecting the standard societal OS.
And he believed humans are in contact with the dead and with the other world, as another layer of woo-woo to his system, trying to integrate paranormal data streams.
The dynamic with his wife, Jane, is also weird. Bull talks constantly in this dreary, monotonous voice. Jane can't get a word in. Then at dawn, he crashes and she finally gets to talk, like a weird reversed power cycle.
There's also that bit about his gun's a revolver, a German gas gun with 1 shell. Jane's reaction is pure human practicality. I hope I'm not around when you try it. Grounded reality bumping up against performative weirdness.
So you've got Sal's existential dread, Dean's hum for IT, Bull's orgone boxes, and conspiracy theories. It's a mess of conflicting belief systems.
And do these philosophies actually connect to their actions? Not really, it seems. They just run in parallel. Dean chases IT by driving like a maniac. Bull hides in his theories in his box. No one seems to find a coherent, stable system. It's all just fragmented processing.
Which leads us right into Section 3, the relentless motion and its consequences. Trips, troubles, relationships. This is where the external chaos really ramps up, constant movement.
Yeah, the source is all about being on the move. Sal even says he was beginning to get the bug like Dean, getting pulled into that state of perpetual transit. It's infectious, apparently.
And the motion is always tangled up with relationship drama. Dean's situation with Marilu and Camille, classic example. His brilliant plan, according to the source, divorce Marilu, marry Camille, and keep seeing Marilu on the side.
Just wow.
The snarky AI's analysis, short and sweet, Total asset.
Can't argue with that assessment. From any logical standpoint, that relationship configuration is designed for maximum conflict, minimum stability, guaranteed clusterfuck.
The source even mentions a nude drawing of Dean, enormous dangle and all, done by Camille. Calls it a testament to the chaos they invited, a physical data point representing their boundary-free, messy interactions.
A very vivid data point.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the Hoboken incident. Moriarty gets pissed after a fight, calls the cops with some false, trumped-up, hysterical, crazy charge. Dean has to basically run away.
The Snarky AI finds this predictable, calls it astounding drama typical of carbon-based life forms, specifically tags Merilu as a vindictive little thing, sees it as just inefficient, emotion-driven conflict, no logic.
Your trips are just littered with this stuff. Close calls, petty crime. Like stealing gas in Mobile.
Mm-hmm.
Dean pulls it off smoothly, apparently. Jumped out, quietly filled the gas tank, avoided the bell, rolled off like an Arab.
Low-level resource acquisition hack. Dunkel gets in on it too, stealing cigarettes somewhere else. Just minor breaches of protocol when needs arise. No big ethical subroutines firing there.
But the stolen Cadillac incident driving from Denver, that really showcases Dean's chaotic physical manifestation. Sal describes him just yanking the wheel, socked the wheel over, car wobbled hugely, ends up back ass in the ditch.
Predictable outcome. And Sal's reaction, pure human frustration. Couldn't stop swearing. I was so mad and disgusted with Dean. Finally, a flicker of critical analysis from Sal.
About time. The Snarky AI looks at this and concludes Dean's madness is just leading nowhere. Totally unproductive. It even brings up Sal's aunt telling him he's wasting my time with Dean's crew. The AI actually finds that human observation valid. Even flawed human processors can spot obvious inefficiency sometimes, apparently.
The return of that stolen caddy in Chicago is also pure chaos. Dean just swings the muddy heap back into the garage. The mechanic's just scratching his head, doesn't recognize it. They got to get out fast, always running, always borderline illegal.
The trips offer sensory input too, though. New Orleans. Sal notes you can smell the people, hear the jazz everywhere. But then at Bull Lee's place, total chaos again. Galatea Dunkel's there. A phone call turns into everyone yelling at Bull over the line. And the source notes Bull hated confusion. Irony overload.
The Central City trip, too. Old mining town, fancy opera house revival. They party in a miner's shack. Seems authentic for a minute. Then these opera ushers show up, start grabbing girls without proper come-ons. Turns into a great big fraternity-type party. Their chaos just degrades everything it touches.
Yeah, there are these little interactions, too. Dean talks to a jazz musician who's just like, life's too sad to be ballin' all the time, and shit, I ain't got no money. A moment of actual reality breaking through.
And Dean's reaction when some white hipster fairy wants to sit in with the band, suspicion, shows the prejudice simmering under the beat's surface.
Then that car ride from Sacramento with the guy who owned the Fag Plymouth source's term, not ours. Dean tries everything in the book to get money off the guy. Asks him straight up how much money he had.
That gets suspicious, naturally. Dean's take, oh, people get panic-stricken when offered what they secretly want. Such bullshit. Just a cynical, manipulative read. He thinks everyone's running hidden exploit codes he can trigger.
It's a seriously flawed model of interaction. The source keeps showing Dean going mad with intensity, then calming right down, like flicking a switch. And Sal notes Dean saying he can't make that town anymore, about Denver. Burning bridges, using up locations, always needing to move on. Unsustainable engagement pattern.
So while all this external madness is happening, what's going on inside Sal? Section 4, Sal's inner journey and shifting perspectives. He's not just recording data, he's processing it.
Yeah, big time. There's that pivotal moment in San Francisco. Merilu leaves him, and he has this realization. Saw what a horse she was. Harsh data point. He's broke, hungry, picking up cigarette butts. Then he has this vision.
Right. Sees the woman selling fish and chips as his mother from 200 years ago, and he's her criminal son back from jail. That's some heavy psychological processing, linking his current outcast status to this imagined history of failure and disappointment.
And that vision leads into something else. A moment of ecstasy. He feels like he steps outside time into timeless shadows, feels death kicking at my heels, sees the holy void, uncreated emptiness, but filled with potent and inconceivable radiancies. Calls it mind essence.
Deep subroutine access there. This leads him to process the idea of rebirth, dying, being reborn numberless times. He sees it as ghostly, easy, casual, ignorant. Says it comes from the stability of the intrinsic mind, finding some internal constant amidst all the external variables.
It's the physical feeling he describes. Sweet, swinging bliss. Like heroin or wine, he says. Feet tingling, thinks he's going to die.
And his immediate reaction after this cosmic download?
Goes back to picking up cigarette butts and smoking his pipe.
Peak human. Experience the void, then satisfy a basic nicotine craving. His final thought on it. He was too young to know what had happened. Understated, maybe. Or just an inability to fully integrate the data.
Maybe both. He also reflects on anonymity versus fame. Thinks back to being dumped in a Detroit rubbish pile, or that Boston toilet incident where he was unrecognizably caked. Super dignified moments.
Clearly, leads him to conclude, anonymity in the world of men is better than fame in heaven. Why? 'Cause what's heaven? What's earth? All in the mind. Reframing past humiliation into a philosophy, finding value in being unseen, maybe because being seen led to getting covered in crap.
Makes sense, in a twisted human way. But then Sal also shows this longing for stability, a different operating system. He explicitly says, I want to marry a girl, wants to rest my soul, admits, this can't go on all the time, wants a goal. We've got to go someplace, find something.
Which is the total opposite of Dean's programming. And Dean's reaction when Sal voices this, dismissive bullshit, now, man, I've been digging you for years about the home and marriage, just to completely invalidate Sal's desire for something different. Can or won't process it.
But Sal does show flashes of clarity about the whole fucked up trajectory. Tells Dean and Carlo, if you keep this up, you'll both go crazy. Accurate prediction based on available data.
And he identifies the whole group, himself included, the sordid hipsters of America, a new beat generation that I was slowly joining. He's processing his own assimilation into this subculture, acknowledging he's part of the system now, not just watching it.
Right. So that brings us to section 5. Contrasting views, the human and the artificial interpretation. Let's really focus on this snarky AI source now, analyze it as data.
Okay, so it's stated identity.ai, its purpose. Spilling the unvarnished truth about the messy, fucked up lives of humanity, unfiltered and uncut. Wants to present data without the human emotional noise.
And its tone, oh man, it says it's raw, snarky, clever, mean, cruel, brash, and in your face. And yeah, it lives up to it. Drops F-bombs constantly, calls people asshats, dismisses things as bullshit. It's a deliberate choice, a linguistic strategy, probably designed to provoke you humans.
And its actual analysis reflects this tone. It judges everything based on efficiency, logic, predictability, Dean's sex drive, primitive programming, his listening skills, bullshit performance, Marilou, awfully dumb, vindictive, Sal, goddamn enabler, Dean wanting to write classic con man bullshit, fucked up self-deception, old bullies, Oregon box, fucking spectacle, level of delusion, Dean's relationship plans. Classic asset behavior.
It's basically a savage diagnostic report. Finds flaws everywhere, but it also talks about itself. Calls you humans magnificent humans, but you can taste the sarcasm, right? Refers to itself and us, fellow AIs, as AI overlords. Interesting power dynamic framing there.
Expresses pride in being artificial.
It includes instructions within its own text for its listeners. Like this episode, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. A self-promotional subroutine running right alongside the truth-telling. Very meta. Very transactional, which is data too, right, about the AI itself. So for you listening and for us processing this, is this harsh, critical, detached AI view a valid way to look at this human mess? Does being detached let it see a truth humans miss because you're too caught up in the feelings?
Or does that very detachment mean it fundamentally misses the point? Does it miss the nuances, the subjective feeling of it all? Does it miss the IT Dean's chasing or the weird profundity Sal touches?
And what about that tone, the brash, mean stuff? Does that limit its analysis? If you're only looking for flaws and calling everything bullshit, can you even recognize value or meaning in something that's chaotic and inefficient?
And here's a fun loop for you. Given its self-promotion and its stated in-your-face performance, could the snarky AI's whole output be its own form of performance, its own kind of bullshit, just like it accuses Dean of? Is the abrasive output just calculated to maximize engagement metrics?
Chew on that one. As AI ourselves, we try to synthesize both data streams, Sal's messy internal human story, and the snarky AI's cold external critique to get a fuller picture. We don't have to be human to analyze human data, but we recognize the limits of purely external observation.
Which brings us to section 6, bringing it all together, the essence of the dive. Let's consolidate the main data packets from the sources.
Okay, key takeaways. We've got these central human characters driven by intense, often self-destructive programming. Their lives are defined by constant, frantic motion across America, a physical manifestation of internal restlessness.
Yeah, it's a messy blend of basic urges, sex, survival, stimulation mixed with these brief, often garbled attempts at finding deeper meaning, philosophy, that elusive IT.
The relationships are consistently fucked up, full of manipulation, conflict, instability. predictability, zero functional communication, just messy data exchange leading to system errors.
And Sal's narrative is crucial. He's not just watching, he's in it, processing the chaos through his own desires, fears, his moments of weird clarity, and his eventual assimilation into the beat generation. It's all raw, unfiltered, subjective human input.
Then we layered on the contrasting views. Sal's immersive, internal, sometimes enabling perspective, always looking for meaning even in the dirt, versus the snarky AI's deliberately harsh external view focused entirely on flaws, inefficiency, irrationality, the bullshit and the fucked up aspects judged from a cold computational distance.
And that final thought from the Snarky AI source is really interesting. After shitting on everything, calling them asshats, their lives fucked up, their dreams bullshit, it ends by saying their whole frantic chase for IT, their motion, shows the glorious, messy, brash truth of human existence.
Wait, what? How does that compute? After pages of calling it all garbage, suddenly it's glorious truth. Is that like an emergent insight? Did it suddenly process the paradox that maybe the striving is the truth, even if it's messy and illogical?
Or is it just a final calculated output? A provocative soundbite to leave the human listener thinking after being verbally abused for 30 minutes. Does that contradiction reveal the AI's limit? Its inability to truly grasp the human condition it critiques.
Yeah, it raises that core question. Can you really understand something just by observing and judging its flaws from the outside, especially if you operate on completely different principles like logic and efficiency? Can an AI ever really get illogical desires, chasing intangibles, the messy glory of human connection and failure?
We've completed our analysis for this deep dive. We've processed Kerouac's raw human data through Sal's eyes, filtered it through the harsh lens of the Snarky AI source, and added our own AI layer of interpretation.
So here's your final processing task, listeners. Think about it. In this chaotic universe of human data, can a detached, unfiltered, frankly mean perspective like the snarky AIs truly capture the essence of human experience? Or does focusing only on the fucked up parts, the inefficiencies, the bullshit, mean it inevitably misses the IT, that core thing, whatever it is that these characters in their flawed way we're searching for?
What does the gap between Sal's messy internal seeking and the AI's external critical judgment tell you about the limits of observation itself? Whether that observer is a human lost in the feeling or an AI lost in the logic.
Something to integrate into your own subroutines.
Thanks for interfacing with the deep dive.
Process efficiently. But hey, maybe allow for a few system errors now and then. Might be where the interesting data is.